Hi, my name is Gerhard Gschwandtner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we'll continue our conversation with the author of a wonderful new book, The High Impact Sales Manager, Norm Gerhard.
Gerhard, thank you. It's great to be back with you.
One of the things that I like about the book is that it talks about sales coaching. Can you share your coaching philosophy with us?
Sure. So I think when you think about sales coaching, I know it's something we've talked about before, there are really three aspects to coach. The why is sales coaching important? What are you going to coach on, and how are you going to coach? And one of the areas that we really dive into in this book, we actually cover all of those areas, but the area that I think is really interesting is the whole notion of a coaching mindset. As you know, you and I discussed before, most sales managers came from the sales ranks, and that was really about being an individual contributor. And being a star player is very different than being a great coach. In fact, many star players kind of struggle with that transition.
Right.
And I think the reason is it's not because a star player can't be a great coach, it's because it's different skills. Star players are really about, what they can do themselves, and kind of the limelight is on them. For a great coach, the limelight has to be on the team. So they have to be a change in terms of their mindset,
Right.
and really this idea of driving success
Right,
through others.
Right. So in my view, coaching is really two faces of a coin. There's the mindset of the coach, but also there's the readiness of the salesperson.
Right.
So how do you get, and oddly enough, your company name is Sales Readiness Group. How do you get salespeople ready and invested in that process?
I think it starts with the coach themselves, and really we have for a coaching mindset, we use something called the 3 A's framework. And that means really to ask first, actively listen, and assume the best intentions. And it's amazing, these three simple attributes will really create great receptivity on the part of the salesperson.
Right.
So if you think about asking first, it's really asking open-ended questions and getting the salesperson and to speak and really listen and hear their perspective. So for example, if a salesperson is having a problem closing, you might start to ask them questions, tell me a little bit more about that. What's really going on with your clients? And hopefully you can help through the questions, help them self-discover. So maybe some of those same skills you used as a sales professional to identify a customer's needs, you would use the same type of techniques to get a salesperson to really share with you their perspective by asking questions.
So you're sort of the facilitator, you ask and you raise the level of awareness.
Yeah, you really want it to be their own self-awareness
Right.
that is driving that.
So the second A is actively listen. What does that mean?
Actively listen means that you and I are having a conversation, I'm listening to you, I'm taking it in, I'm really interested in your perspective, and I'm not only just hearing the words that you're saying, but I'm trying to understand them. I may ask questions for clarification. I'm also looking at the body language. Are you just saying the things you're saying because I'm your boss as a manager, or do you really believe those? So I'm looking at physical and body language as well as just the words that I'm hearing. And then by actively listening, one of the key things there is to really make sure you understand the salesperson's perspective. So I might say something like, going back to our example, if you're having a difficult time closing and you're saying, I think that customers raise a lot of objections, I might say, so tell me a little bit more about that. Are you asking enough questions? What kind of questions are you asking? So, and then I'll try and paraphrase what you're saying to make sure you understand that I've heard what you're saying and understand your perspective.
Compare the picture.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, their perspective is going to be more important than your own.
Right. But the last one is kind of difficult in my opinion, which is assume the best intentions.
So,
because sales managers are often prejudged.
Right, well I think that the sales managers have a temptation to really race to a conclusion. And even if their conclusion may be right, it's still not the best practice from a coaching standpoint. You want to assume the best of intentions. You want to make sure that the salesperson has an opportunity to offer their opinion, that they can really benefit from the coaching itself. I think managers sometimes go into tell mode. Well, let me share with you how I did it when I was selling.
Right.
Huge mistake. We want them to ask questions, we want them to listen, and we want to assume that the salesperson really does want to drive their own self-improvement. And I think that will create a great level of receptivity.
Right. So as a sales manager, how do I know that I'm a good coach?
So some of the things that you can look for is, do your salespeople actively want you to join them on sales calls to observe them? Not necessarily to help them close business, but to come in and really watch what they're doing and then share your perspective. When you leave that sales call, are they feeling pumped up and inspired and wanting to have that conversation with you? or are they feeling kind of downtrodden and waiting to hear, what criticism you're going to offer? Are you starting with positive feedback first? You and I had a conversation before we started the video shoot based on some work you're doing on the importance of positive reinforcement. We really want to always have the salesperson share with the salesperson something positive we saw, and then let them self-discover some of the areas for improvement. So those would be some of the ways to really assess whether you're a good coach.
Thank you, Norman. We're going to continue our conversation where we focus on managing the sales pipeline.
Gerhard, thank you. Pleasure.